The pen felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds in my hand. I stared at the deed, my deed, to the house Robert built board by board in 1987, and my son Michael wouldn't look me in the eyes. "Mom, it's just temporary," he said, his voice tight. "Just until the business takes off. 6 months, tops." I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to believe him so badly my chest hurt. Behind him in the doorway, Jessica smiled. Her nails were painted a deep crimson, perfectly manicured, and they tapped against her designer purse like little daggers keeping rhythm. She'd only been Michael's wife for 4 months, but already she had this way of filling up a room, making everything feel smaller and colder. "We really appreciate this, Mom," Jessica said, her voice honey-sweet. "Michael's told me so much about how generous you are." Something about the way she said generous made my stomach turn. But Michael was my son. My baby boy who used to bring me dandelions from the yard and called them sunshine flowers. The boy who cried in my arms when his father died. Who promised he'd always take care of me. I signed. My wrinkled hand pushed the paper across the kitchen table, the same table where I'd served thousands of meals, helped with homework, celebrated birthdays. Michael's eyes darted away the moment I looked up. He grabbed the deed like it was burning his fingers. "You're doing the right thing," Jessica said, stepping forward to sweep the paper into her purse. Her smile never reached her eyes. "Family helps. Family. Right?" "Right," I whispered. "That was 3 weeks ago. Now I'm waking up on a park bench in Franklin Park, and I can't feel my fingers. The frost on my coat has crystallized into tiny ice patterns that catch the morning light. Pretty, almost. Like Robert used to say, the world was beautiful if you looked at it right, even when everything was falling apart. A jogger runs past without seeing me. Then another. I've become invisible. Just another old woman taking up space on a bench, another problem for someone else to solve. The plastic bag beside me contains everything I own now. 2 shirts, a pair of pants, my wedding photo in a cracked frame, and the restraining order that arrived at the women's shelter 5 days ago. I unfold it with shaking hands, even though I've read it 100 times. Petitioner, Jessica Ann Carver. Respondent, Barbara Jean Patterson. My own address is listed as the location I'm forbidden to approach within 500 feet. 500 feet from the house where I gave birth to Emma in the upstairs bedroom because the contractions came too fast. 500 feet from the garden where Robert's ashes should be scattered, but never were because I couldn't let go. 500 feet from my entire life. The legal language is cold, clinical. Respondent has demonstrated erratic and threatening behavior. Respondent has made unwanted contact and refused to vacate the premises despite multiple requests. For the safety of petitioners. I don't remember any of it. The threats, the refusing to leave. I remember Michael calling me 2 weeks after I signed, his voice distant and rehearsed. "Mom, Jessica thinks it would be better if you stayed somewhere else for a while, just while we get settled." I remember showing up at my own front door with groceries I'd bought Michael's favorite pot roast ingredients and finding the locks changed. I remember Jessica opening the door just wide enough for me to see her face. "You need to leave," she'd said. "This is our home now." But Michael agrees with me. "You're not welcome here." The door closed. I stood there for 20 minutes, waiting for my son to come outside, to tell me this was a misunderstanding, to be the boy who brought me sunshine flowers. He never came. "Ma'am, you need to move along." I jolt back to the present. A police officer stands over me, young enough to be my grandson, his hand resting on his belt. Not threatening, exactly, but not kind either. "Loitering laws," he says, almost apologetically. "Can't sleep here." I wasn't sleeping. I lie. Just resting. "Well, you can't rest here either. There's a shelter on Madison Street. I know where the shelter is. I've been there. It's full." They gave me a list of other places, but those were full too. Turns out there are a lot of forgotten women in this city. I gather my plastic bag, my joints screaming in protest. Every movement feels like punishment. The officer watches me like he's not sure whether to help or hurry me along. He chooses the latter. Have a good day, ma'am. Have a good day. As if that's possible. As if I'm not homeless at 68 years old because I loved my son too much. I start walking, no destination in mind, just movement to prove I'm complying. That's when I see it. The black SUV parked across the street. Windows tinted so dark they look like oil slicks. The engine is running. I can see the exhaust in the cold morning air. My heart stops. I know that car. Jessica drove it the day they came to ask for my house, parked it in my driveway like she already owned the place. As I stare, the driver's side window rolls down. Just 3 inches. Just enough. Jessica's face appears in the gap, her red lips curved into that same smile from my kitchen. She's wearing sunglasses even though the sun is barely up, and she doesn't say a word. She just watches me. The window rolls back up. The SUV doesn't move. My plastic bag slips from my trembling hand, and the wedding photo frame hits the concrete with a crack. Robert's face stares up at me through new fractures in the glass. What did I do? I whisper to no one. What did I do? The SUV's engine revs once. A warning. Or a promise. I don't know which is worse. Emma's number has been disconnected. I stand outside a gas station. The payphone receiver pressed so hard against my ear it hurts, listening to the automated voice tell me for the 3rd time that the number is no longer in service. My daughter. My Emma. The one who called me every Sunday without fail, who sent me photos of my grandchildren, who promised she'd never let anything happen to me after Robert died. Gone. I slam the receiver down, and the metallic crash echoes across the empty parking lot. Think. When did I last talk to her? 6 weeks ago, right before Michael brought Jessica to Sunday dinner. Emma had said something about updating her phone plan, and Jessica, ever so helpful, had offered to take care of transferring all your important numbers, Mom, so you don't lose touch with anyone. I trusted her. God, help me. I trusted her. My feet carry me to Maple Street without conscious thought. Muscle memory from 40 years of walking these sidewalks. Back when they knew my name at the corner store. When neighbors waved from their porches. Number 447. The yellow house with the white shutters. I climbed the porch steps to Dorothy's front door, each one feeling steeper than it should. We used to have coffee every Thursday morning. She held my hand at Robert's funeral. She taught Emma how to braid her hair. I knock. Dorothy? It's me. It's Barbara. Nothing. I knock again. Harder. Dorothy, please. I just need to talk to someone. The curtain twitches. Just an inch. Just enough for me to see her face in the gap, pale, frightened, old. When did we both get so old? Dorothy. I can't, she says, her voice muffled through the door. I'm sorry, Barbara. I can't. What do you mean you can't? It's me. Please, She said you might come here. Dorothy's voice cracks. She said you weren't well, that you might get violent. I can't. I have grandchildren who visit Barbara. I can't risk it. The words hit me like a slap. She? Jessica? Dorothy? Whatever she told you? I'm sorry. The curtain falls closed. I catch my reflection in the window glass. For a moment, I don't recognize the woman staring back. Greasy hair, hollow eyes, a coat that hasn't been washed in weeks. I look exactly like what Dorothy thinks I am: unstable, dangerous, someone to be afraid of. I look homeless, because I am. The Community Resource Center smells like industrial cleaner and desperation. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead, casting everything in a sickly yellow glow. Folding chairs line the walls, filled with people who look like they've given up. A man mutters to himself in the corner. A young mother tries to keep her toddler from crying. I almost leave. But where would I go? Can I help you? The woman behind the desk looks up from her paperwork. She's younger than Emma, with kind eyes and dark hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. Her name tag reads, Maria, Social Services. I don't know, I admit. I don't know where else to go. She doesn't look at me the way Dorothy did, doesn't flinch or pull back. She just gestures to the plastic chair across from her desk. Sit, please. I do, and the relief of being treated like a person almost makes me cry. What's your name? Barbara. Barbara Patterson. She writes it down. Okay, Barbara, tell me what's going on. So I do. The words pour out like a dam breaking the house. Michael, Jessica, the restraining order, the locks changed, Emma's disconnected number, Dorothy's frightened face. Maria listens without interrupting, just nods and takes notes, and the simple act of being heard feels like water in a desert. When I finish, she's quiet for a long moment. Do you have the restraining order with you? I pull it from my plastic bag, now wrinkled and soft from being folded and unfolded so many times. She reads it carefully, her expression darkening. Stay here, she says. I need to check something. She disappears into a back office. I sit there under the fluorescent lights, listening to the man in the corner mutter, the toddler whimper, the clock on the wall tick out seconds that feel like hours. Maria returns with a manila folder. She sits down, opens it, and slides it across the desk toward me. These are the reports filed with Adult Protective Services, she says quietly. 3 separate incidents, all filed by Jessica Carver. My hands shake as I read. September 12th. Barbara Patterson appeared at the residence in an agitated state, making threats and refusing to leave. Police were called. I brought groceries, I whisper. I just wanted to see my son. September 18th. Barbara Patterson contacted the residence multiple times via phone, leaving increasingly erratic and threatening voicemails. I called twice. I asked Michael to call me back. September 23rd. Barbara Patterson attempted to gain unauthorized entry to the residence. Respondent fears for her safety and that of her husband. I used my key. It was still my house. Except it wasn't. Not anymore. I look up at Maria, and she's watching me with something that looks like pity, or maybe recognition. She built a case, Maria says softly. Every interaction, every attempt you made to contact them, she documented it and twisted it into evidence of mental instability and threatening behavior. By the time the restraining order went to a judge, you looked dangerous on paper. But I'm not. I'm not dangerous, I'm just... I know. Maria leans forward, her voice dropping to barely above a whisper. You're not the first, Mrs. Patterson. My blood turns to ice. What? 3 other women have come through here in the past 2 years. Different names, different families, but the same story. Adult children who suddenly married partners connected to a real estate investment group. Elderly parents who owned property. And within months, those parents were homeless with restraining orders, and their children had sold the houses. The room tilts. You're saying this is... what? A scam? I'm saying there's a pattern. Maria pulls a post-it note from her desk drawer and writes something down. This woman might be able to help you. Her name is Claire. She's been investigating this for months, building a case. But Mrs. Patterson, she slides the post-it across the desk, her eyes locked on mine. Be careful. If I'm right about what this is, they're watching. They'll know if you get too close to the truth. I stare at the address on the yellow paper. Behind me, the toddler finally starts to cry loud, piercing wails that sound like how I feel inside. Why are you helping me? I ask. Maria's smile is sad. Because my grandmother lost her house 5 years ago to my aunt's new boyfriend. Because I didn't believe her when she said something was wrong. Because I was too late. She stands up, and I know I'm being dismissed. Be careful, Mrs. Patterson. And don't trust anyone connected to your son right now. Not until you know the whole truth. I fold the post-it note and tuck it into my pocket like it's made of gold. Outside, the afternoon light is fading. The black SUV is parked across the street again, engine running, waiting. Jessica knows I went to the community center, which means she knows I'm starting to figure it out. The SUV's headlights flash once a warning that's becoming familiar. I turn my back on it and start walking toward the address on the post-it note. If they're watching, let them watch. I'm done being invisible. The apartment building is one of those sad, gray places where people go to disappear. I climb 3 flights of stairs, no elevator, and knock on door 3C. My heart hammers against my ribs. For all I know, this could be another trap. Another way for Jessica to document my erratic behavior. The door opens 6 inches, held by a chain lock. A woman about my age peers through the gap. Silver hair cut short, sharp blue eyes that have seen too much, lines around her mouth that speak of years spent clenching her jaw. "Barbara Patterson?" she asks. "Yes," Maria called. "Said you'd be coming." She closes the door, and I hear the chain slide free. When it opens again, she steps aside. "I'm Claire. Come in quickly. Don't want anyone seeing you." I slip inside, and she locks the door behind me. 3 separate locks, I notice. The deadbolt, the chain, and something else I don't recognize. "Can't be too careful," she says, catching me looking. Then I see the wall. The entire living room wall is covered in photographs, newspaper clippings, printed documents, all connected by red string like something out of a crime show. My breath catches in my throat. "Jesus," I whisper. "No," Claire says, her voice hard. "Just the devil in a designer dress." She walks to the wall, and I follow like a woman in a trance. The center photograph is Jessica. No, not Jessica. The woman looks like her, but younger. Different hair. The name underneath reads, Jennifer Corso, 2019, Phoenix, Arizona. "That's not—" "It is," Claire interrupts. "Jessica Carver is her legal name now. Changed it in 2021 after the Arizona case fell apart. But that's her." Around Jennifer, divided by Jessica's photo, the red strings branch out like a spiderweb. Each string leads to another victim faces of elderly women, their stories printed on index cards in Claire's neat handwriting. Rita Brennan, 71. Phoenix, AZ. Lost home, 2019. Daughter's husband, Marcus Diaz. Restraining order filed. Home sold within 90 days. Susan Torres, 68. Las Vegas, NV. Lost home, 2021. Son's wife, Jessica Carver. Restraining order filed. Home sold within 60 days. Linda Yamamoto, 73. Portland, OR free. Lost home, 2022. Son's wife, Jessica Carver. Restraining order filed. Currently homeless. My knees go weak. Claire guides me to the sagging couch. "How many?" I manage to ask. "That I can prove. 6, including you. But I think there are more. Different names, different states, always the same pattern." Claire sits beside me, and I can see the exhaustion in her eyes, the obsession. "My daughter Rachel married a man named Todd 2 years ago. Within 6 months, I was homeless with a restraining order, and they'd sold my house, pocketed $380,000. Your daughter hasn't spoken to me since." Claire's voice cracks, just slightly. "That's what they do. They isolate us, make us look crazy, turn our own children against us. And by the time we figure out what happened, it's too late." She stands and pulls a folder from a filing cabinet. Everything in this apartment is evidence, I realize. A case being built one document at a time. "Look at this." She spreads photographs across the coffee table. Driver's licenses, all of them showing the same woman with different names. Jennifer Corso, Jessica Carver, Jenna Cross. All of them with the same predatory smile. Then she lays down a wedding photo. Jessica in a white dress, standing next to a man who isn't Michael. Same smile. Same cold eyes. That's Marcus Diaz, Claire says. Rita Brennan's daughter's husband. They were married for 11 months, long enough to steal Rita's house, sell it, and split the profit. Then they divorced. She's done this before. I breathe. She's done this before. She's doing it now. To you. And if we don't stop her in the next 48 hours, she'll do it to someone else. Claire pulls out another document, a real estate listing. Your house goes on the market tomorrow. Private sale, fast close. She already has buyers lined up, part of the investment group. They flip the properties, split the profits, and move to the next state. I stare at the listing photo. My house. My beautiful house with the garden Robert planted, the porch swing where I rocked my babies, the kitchen where I signed away everything. Michael, I whisper. Does Michael know? Claire's expression softens, just slightly. I don't know. Todd seemed genuinely confused when I tried to reach him afterward, like he'd been in a fog. These people are good at manipulation, Barbara. They find vulnerable men. Your son lost his father, right? 3 years ago. Perfect target. Grieving, maybe struggling, wants to believe someone loves him. She probably love-bombed him, made him feel special, then slowly isolated him from you. Made him dependent on her approval. Claire pulls out her phone, scrolls through something. We have a lawyer, pro bono. But he needs proof that Jessica manipulated Michael. We need communications, emails, texts, something that shows this was premeditated fraud. How do we get that? Claire reaches into a drawer and pulls out a cheap flip phone, the kind drug dealers use in movies. She hands it to me, and my hands shake as I take it. Jessica goes to a book club every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Except it's not a book club. We've followed her. She meets with 3 men at a coffee shop downtown, the real estate investors. They're there for exactly 90 minutes. You want me to get into your house, access Michael's laptop or phone, find the evidence we need, emails, texts, financial records, photograph everything with this phone and send it to the number programmed in there. Claire's eyes lock onto mine with an intensity that's almost frightening. You know that house better than anyone. You know where he keeps things, where he'd hide passwords, what his patterns are. But the restraining order, if they catch you, you go to jail. I won't lie to you about that. Claire leans forward. But if we don't get that evidence in the next 48 hours, the sale closes. She'll walk away with your money, your house, and your son. And you'll have nothing. I look down at the burner phone in my hands. It's so light, so small. Such a fragile thing to pin all my hope on. There's something else, Claire says quietly. She pulls out one more document, a timeline, handwritten. Linda Yamamoto, from Portland. She tried to confront her son after she lost her house. Went to his workplace. Tried to explain what happened. Jessica filed another police report. Claimed Linda was stalking them. What happened to her? Suicide. 6 months ago. Jumped off a bridge. The air leaves my lungs. Claire's hand grips my shoulder. I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you because you need to understand what we're up against. This isn't just about money. It's about dignity, survival, making sure we're not erased. She picks up a pen and writes an address on a piece of paper. My address. The house where I gave birth to Emma in the upstairs bedroom because the contractions came too fast. Where I taught Michael to ride a bike in the driveway. Where Robert kissed me goodnight 10,000 times. Thursday night, Claire says. 7 p.m. Jessica leaves for her book club. You have 90 minutes to get in, find the evidence, and get out. That's tomorrow. I know. I stare at my own address like it's written in a foreign language. Breaking and entering, violating a restraining order, risking arrest. All to prove I'm not crazy. All to get back what was stolen. There's a spare key, I hear myself say, under the ceramic frog by the back steps. Robert hid it there when Emma was a teenager and kept locking herself out. Claire's smile is fierce. Then you know how to get in? If they catch me, they won't. I'll be watching from across the street. If anything goes wrong, I call you on that phone and you run. But Barbara, she grips both my shoulders now, forcing me to meet her eyes. This is it. This is our only chance. After tomorrow, that house is gone. Your connection to Michael is gone. Any proof of what she did is gone. I think of Linda Yamamoto jumping off a bridge. I think of Rita Brennan and Susan Torres and all the other faceless women Jessica destroyed. I think of my son's eyes avoiding mine as I signed the deed. Okay, I whisper. I'll do it. Claire pulls me into a fierce hug. This stranger who understands my nightmare better than my own children. We're going to get her, she says into my hair. We're going to get all of them. I clutch the burner phone like a weapon. Tomorrow night, I'm breaking into my own house. The house where I raised my children, buried my dreams, and learned what it means to be betrayed by the people you die for. And if I get caught, at least I'll go down fighting. 7 p.m. I'm crouched behind the lilac bushes I planted 30 years ago, watching my own house like I'm the criminal. The irony isn't lost on me. Jessica's black SUV sits in the driveway, my driveway engine running. Through the kitchen window, I can see her moving around, gathering her purse, checking her phone. She's wearing a cream-colored blazer that probably costs more than I spent on groceries in a month. Claire's voice crackles through the cheap burner phone. She's about to leave. You ready? No, I whisper back. But I'm doing it anyway. That's the spirit. I'm parked 2 houses down. If anything goes wrong, I'll call. You run. Understand? Understand. The front door opens. Jessica steps out, locks it behind her, my lock, my door, and climbs into the SUV. The headlights sweep across the yard as she backs out, and I press myself flat against the cold ground, heart hammering. The SUV turns onto the street and disappears. She's gone, Claire says. 90 minutes. Go. I end the call and stay frozen for another 30 seconds, listening to the silence of the neighborhood. Somewhere, a dog barks. A television murmurs through an open window. Normal sounds. Normal life. Everything I used to have. The ceramic frog is right where it's always been, nestled under the azalea bush by the back steps. Its painted smile is chipped now, faded by weather and time. I pick it up with shaking hands and find the spare key still taped to the bottom. Please don't let them have changed the locks. Please. The key slides into the back door lock. It turns. I'm inside. The smell hits me first. Jessica's perfume, something expensive and floral that makes my stomach turn. It's everywhere, soaked into the walls, the furniture, the air itself. Covering up the smell I'm searching for, Robert's workshop scent of sawdust and motor oil that used to drift up from the basement. She's erased him. I close the door behind me and stand in my own kitchen, and it feels like standing in a stranger's house. Everything is wrong. The wallpaper I chose, soft yellow with tiny flowers, has been painted over in cold gray. The kitchen table where I signed the deed is gone, replaced by some modern glass thing that looks like it belongs in a magazine. The refrigerator is covered in Jessica's motivational quotes and spa appointment reminders instead of Emma's childhood drawings. My hands start to shake. Focus. You have 90 minutes. I move through the house like a ghost haunting its own life. The living room is worse. Robert's recliner, the one he sat in every evening, where he died in his sleep 3 years ago, is gone. In its place is a white leather couch that probably cost thousands. The walls where our family photos hung are bare, painted the same cold gray. 40 years of memories erased in 4 months. I climb the stairs, each creaking step a familiar song my feet remember. Emma's room is now a home gym. The guest room where my mother stayed before she passed is full of boxes labeled staging materials. They're already preparing to sell. My old sewing room is at the end of the hall. The door is closed. I open it. Jessica's office is obscenely organized. A glass desk faces the window where I used to watch Michael play in the yard. Filing cabinets line one wall. And on the desk, like a gift from God, Michael's laptop. It's open. Asleep, but not shut down. I touch the mouse pad and the screen flares to life. Password required. My heart sinks. Of course. Why would it be? Wait. I try Michael's birthday. Nothing. Robert's birthday. Nothing. Then I try something else. The day Michael and Jessica got married. The desktop loads. She made him change his password to their wedding date. The level of control is breathtaking. I open his email, fingers flying across the keyboard muscle memory from years of typing church newsletters and PTA announcements. The inbox is full of real estate communications, property listings, investor meetings. Then I see the drafts folder. 37 drafts. I open the first one. 2. Jennifer.co.rso.properties@gmail.com. From michael.patterson1985@gmail.com. Subject: Timeline. J. Mom signed today. Transfer will be complete by end of week. We can list by the 15th like you planned. I still feel sick about this, but you're right, she wasn't going to last much longer in that big house anyway. This is better for everyone. M. The email was never sent. Just saved. Hidden. My vision blurs with tears, but I keep reading. 2. Jennifer.co.rso.properties@gmail.com. From michael.patterson1985@gmail.com. Subject: She came by again. J. Mom showed up with groceries today. I watched from upstairs while you told her to leave. I wanted to go down there, but you're right, we can't show weakness now. The restraining order will make this easier. I keep thinking about what you said, that Dad would want me to be smart about money, not sentimental. You're right. You're always right. M. My son. My baby boy who brought me dandelions. He knew. He knew what she was doing, and he let it happen. I photograph every email with the burner phone, hands shaking so badly I have to brace the camera against the desk. Claire taught me how open camera, point, click, send to the programmed number. Evidence building with every flash. Then I find the financial records. A spreadsheet labeled Property Acquisitions 2022 to 2025. 6 addresses. 6 elderly victims. 6 houses sold for profit. My house is number 7. Projected profit, $425,000. Split 60/40, JC divided by investment group. MP gets $50K consulting fee. Michael gets $50,000 for selling his mother's house. For making me homeless. For letting me sleep on a park bench. I'm downloading the files to Claire's USB drive when I hear it. A car door slams in the driveway. My blood turns to ice. Through the window, I see Jessica's SUV. Back. 40 minutes early. No. Headlights sweep across the room as a second car pulls up. The burner phone buzzes in my pocket, Claire calling, warning me, but I can't answer because I'm paralyzed, watching the download bar crawl across the screen. 73% complete. Jessica's voice cuts through the night, sharp and furious. I told you we needed to check the house. I think the old bitch has been watching us. 82% complete. You're being paranoid, a man's voice responds. Not Michael, someone else. She was at the community center yesterday. Maria called to warn me, said some old woman was asking questions. Jessica's heels click up the front walk. If she's been inside this house, I'll kill her myself. 91% complete. Keys jangle at the front door. 96%. The lock turns. 99%. Download complete. I rip the USB drive from the laptop and run. The hallway. The stairs. My feet know these steps, even in the dark, even in terror. Behind me, I hear the front door open, hear Jessica's voice. Check upstairs. Now. The basement door. I yank it open and throw myself down the stairs, closing it behind me just as footsteps pound up to the second floor. The basement is exactly as Robert left it. His workbench. His tools hanging on pegboard shadows in the moonlight from the window well. The smell of sawdust and oil that Jessica couldn't erase because she probably never comes down here. This is still his space. Still mine. I pressed myself against the cold concrete wall, the USB drive clutched in my fist so tight it cuts into my palm. Above me, footsteps thunder across the ceiling. Anything? Jessica's voice, muffled but clear. Nothing. You're being paranoid. The man again. The alarm didn't go off. No one's here. Check the laptop. Oh, God. I hold my breath as footsteps enter Jessica's office directly above my head. The ceiling creaks. I can picture her leaning over the desk, touching the mouse pad, seeing the screen wake up to Michael's email drafts. Silence. Then, someone was on Michael's computer. What? The screen's still warm. These files were accessed 10 minutes ago. Her voice drops to something cold and deadly. She's here. She's in this house right now. My heart hammers so loud I'm certain they can hear it through the floorboards. I'll check downstairs, the man says. Footsteps move toward the stairs, toward the basement door. I look around frantically, Robert's old paint tarps in the corner, the hot water heater, shelves of forgotten Christmas decorations. Nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. The basement door opens. Light spills down the stairs. Mom? Michael. My son's voice cracks like he's 12 years old again, calling for me after a nightmare. I freeze. Every muscle locked. I should hide, should run. But hearing his voice, hearing him sound like my boy again. Mom, if you're down there, please, just come up. We can talk about this. She doesn't get to talk. Jessica's voice, sharp as a knife. She violated a restraining order. She broke into our house. Call the police. Wait. Call the police. Above me, I hear them arguing. Michael's voice pleading. Jessica's voice cutting. And then, I'm not sure about this anymore. Silence. What did you say? Jessica's voice could freeze blood. I said I'm not sure about any of this. I saw her, Jess, last week. She was sleeping on a park bench. My mother was sleeping on a park bench, and his voice breaks. What have we done? We? Jessica laughs, but there's no humor in it. You mean, what have you done? You're the one who convinced her to sign. You're the one who changed the locks. You're the one who filed the restraining order with me. Because you said it was the only way. You're weak, Michael. Just like your pathetic father probably was. The words hang in the air like poison. Don't, Michael whispers. Don't talk about my dad. Why not? He's dead. He doesn't matter. What matters is that we're already $400,000 into this sale. We have buyers waiting. We have contracts signed. Jessica's heels click across the floor above me, pacing like a predator. I'm not letting some senile old woman ruin everything because you suddenly grew a conscience. She's not senile. She's my mother. She's nothing. She's a mark. That's all she ever was. I hear Michael make a sound something between a sob and a gasp. How can you... he starts. How can I what? Be realistic? Be smart? Grow up, Michael. This is how the world works. The weak get used, the strong survive. Your mother was always going to end up in a nursing home anyway. We just accelerated the timeline and made some money in the process. I can't do this anymore. Yes, you can. Because if you back out now, if you help her, you're complicit. You signed those documents. You filed those reports. The courts won't care that you suddenly feel bad. Her voice softens, turns manipulative. Baby, I know this is hard, but we're so close. After we sell this house, we can move somewhere new. Start fresh. Just the two of us. Silence. Then, I need to check the basement. Michael. I said I need to check the basement. Footsteps on the stairs. I watch my son descend into the shadows, into his father's space. The moonlight from the window catches his face, and I see he's crying, tears streaming down his cheeks in the dark. He sees me pressed against the wall. Our eyes meet. For a long moment, neither of us moves. Mother and son. Everything we were. Everything we've lost. Mom, he whispers. Above us, Jessica's heels click impatiently. Is she down there or not? Michael looks at me, then at the stairs, then back at me. This is the moment. The choice that determines everything. No, he calls up. Nothing down here. Just Dad's old junk. I hear Jessica swear, then more footsteps. Fine. I'm calling the police anyway. If she was here, she'll come back. We'll catch her. Yeah, Michael says, but he's still looking at me. We'll catch her. He turns to go back upstairs, and I make my choice. I don't hide anymore. I step forward, into the light from the stairwell. The USB drive is still clutched in my hand, and I hold it up so Michael can see it. I have everything, I say quietly. Every email, every financial record, every victim before me. Michael stops on the stairs. Mom, what are you? Her real name is Jennifer Corso. She's done this 6 times before. You're not special, Michael. You're just another mark. My voice doesn't shake. I'm done shaking. And you knew. You knew what she was doing. His face crumbles. Michael? Jessica calls from upstairs. Who are you talking to? I walk to the bottom of the stairs, look up at my son. You don't get to have my forgiveness until you've earned back my respect, I say. But first, you're going to help me send your wife to prison. Michael stares at me, torn, broken. I can't. Yes, you can. Because the alternative is you go down with her. And I don't want that, Michael. Despite everything, I don't want that. Michael! Jessica's voice is sharp now, suspicious. He looks up the stairs, then back at me. Then he does something I never expected. He steps aside. She's down here, he calls up, his voice steady now, clear. Mom's down here, and we need to talk. 6 months later, I'm on my knees in the garden, planting new lilac bushes where the old ones died. The house is mine again. Legally, officially mine. The judge looked at the evidence, every email, every financial record, every victim Claire and I found, and called it one of the most calculated cases of elder exploitation he'd seen in 30 years. Jessica Jennifer Corso is in prison. 3 years, which doesn't feel like enough. But her real estate partners got 7 years each, and there's a federal investigation into how many other families they destroyed. Michael is in therapy. We talk once a week, supervised by his counselor. It's awkward and painful, and sometimes I want to scream at him, to ask how he could have let this happen. But I see the shame in his eyes, the genuine horror at what he became. He's trying. It's not forgiveness yet. Maybe it never will be, but it's something. Emma flew in from Seattle last month. Her number wasn't disconnected, just changed by Jessica without telling me. She cried for 2 hours when she found out what happened. Her kids made me cards that said, "We love you, Grandma," in crayon. I have them on my refrigerator. The yellow one with flowers is back. Claire comes by every Tuesday. We have coffee in the kitchen and compare notes on the lawsuit we're suing. The real estate investment group, and 5 other victims have joined us. We won't get rich, but maybe we'll get justice. The morning joggers wave to me now when they pass. I'm not invisible anymore. I dig a hole for the last lilac bush and reach for the box beside me. It's wooden, carved with Robert's initials. Inside are his ashes, the ones I couldn't bear to scatter for 3 years. I open the box and pour them into the soil around the lilac roots. You'd be proud of me, I whisper to the ashes, to the wind, to the memory of the man who built this house with his own hands. I fought back, just like you taught me. The lilac bush settles into the earth. In a few years it'll bloom purple and fragrant, and maybe by then I'll have figured out how to be whole again. Maybe. I stand up, brush the dirt from my knees, and look at my house. Mine. Not stolen, not sold, not erased. Mine. And for the first time in 6 months, I smile.